By faith, Abraham, when he was tried, offered up Isaac. So now we're back to Genesis 22. And he that had received the promises offered up his only begotten son, of whom it is said that in Isaac shall thy seed be called. Now the way he sets this up here is really, really important. He that had received the promises offered the very personification of the promise. You see what the writer of Hebrews is trying to get us to wrestle with? It's more than just he's offering his son. It's he's offering his promise. That says something about Abraham and something about God, where it's like, whoa, God, you do realize that this is the covenant child. And if you have me slay him, then there goes the covenant. Sands of the seashore have to start with at least one grain, and he's the only grain I've got. So this is mere mortality speaking to omniscience, but just in case this is a blind spot, you can multiply infinity by 0 and it still ends up 0. The 0 will trump the infinity, just FYI. Okay? Now, as long as there's 1, then infinity times 1 will be infinity. So if you're promising me infinity, you have to hold on to the 1. This is what I'm getting at. This is not just me trying to hold on to my son. This is me trying to help you hold on to your promise, which cannot happen if I slay your promise. Understand what we're saying here? I mean, I love the way it's set up here in Hebrews. But then the way it's described, it's now Abraham's turn to trust in the who, just like Sarah did. So he says, accounting that God, there's the ultimate who, was able to raise him up even from the dead, from whence also he received him in a figure. Now that is mind-blowing. You understand what he just said? Abraham, like I said earlier, was fully intending to sacrifice his son. He wasn't like assuming that there's an angel waiting in the wings to come and stay the hand. It's not like, okay, I'm about to do it, God. 1, 2, a little more nervously, 2.5. No. I know this is what God is asking me to do, and I'm going to do it. Then how on earth will God keep his promise? I can only think of one possible way. Accounting that God was able to raise him up even from the dead. That's what was on Abraham's mind. I fully intend to slay my son because I have full faith that God will then raise him again. That's amazing. He wasn't waiting for an angel. He was resting on the resurrection. Wow, you understand this? He's going to raise my son. He's going to give me the power to do it. Now, where on earth would you come up with that kind of idea? Let alone that kind of faith. But what? God doesn't happen. God doesn't raise the dead. He didn't raise Abel. He hasn't raised anybody. How can you possibly even think that? Well, the writer of Hebrews gave us the hint. He would raise him up even from the dead, that last phrase, from whence also he received him in a figure. Oh, wait, what? And then that's it. And the tour guide brings us on to the next display, the next wing in the Faith Hall of Fame. Like, wait, what did you just... You received in a figure? What does that mean? Well, again, it speaks volumes. But we have to go back to Romans to unlock this one. And in Romans chapter 4, we get the key that unlocks that clue. The clue was, I know God will raise him from the dead. He already has. Well, what do you mean? Isaac, his whole existence is an example of life emerging out of death. We've been through it before. God proved that. And now he's just going to prove it again. I know he can bring death from life, comedy out of tragedy, because that's what an Isaac is. When did God show me that first? Romans 4, verse 19. And be not weak in faith, so we're back to the faith focus. He, Abraham, considered not his own body now dead when he was about 100 years old. Neither yet the deadness of Sarah's womb. Did you catch it? From whence he received him in a figure. Oh yeah, life from death. My body was dead. No 100-year-old man going to give birth. And my wife, and if you think that's possible, which maybe it is, but my wife, a 90-year-old womb is as much a tomb as anything. That was death too. And yet she conceived. And from a dead body, mine, and from a dead womb, Sarah's, life came. Joy came, rejoicing came, laughter came. Life came out of death. And if God could do it then, why can't he do it now? Why can't he bring life out of my dying dreams? Why can't he bring light out of my darkness? Why can't he bring hope out of my despair? He's done it so many times. We have proved him in days that are past. In fact, the verses that surround that incredible key in Romans 4, right before it, it says that Abraham and Sarah, against hope, believed in hope. Such a great phrase. I know I have no reason to hope here, but I'm holding on to it. Against hope, I believe in hope. Against the odds, I know God will beat the odds. It's only my manner that has ceased. His manner hasn't. Or how about the verse right after verse 19? That they staggered not at the promise of God through unbelief, but were strong in faith. Oh, the idea of staggering, like somebody tells you, like staggering back, like, whoa, what? Seriously? They didn't stagger because of unbelief. They laughed out of pure faith. I know God can do this. It's not a staggering promise. Nothing is too hard for the Lord. Or how about verse 21? Being fully persuaded that what he had promised, God, he was able also to perform. This is a story about God, far more than this is a story about Abraham and Sarah. Because he's still the figure in this story that associates with us. He promised, and he is able to perform. My dear friends, I hope that you know that's true. I hope you have had enough experiences in your past to help you look forward with faith to a glorious future. Whatever you're going through right now, I pray that you'll Isaac. I pray you'll laugh and let the world laugh with you. I promise God is ready to rejoice right alongside you. He was here for your tears of sorrow. He will be here for your tears of joy. I testify of the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, of the God of Sarah and Rebekah and Rachel. I pray that we can have faith in him, knowing that anything he's promised you, and it's everything that he's promised you, he is able to perform.